Here. All right. Well, once again, good morning to everyone in the live trading room, and good morning to everyone on YouTube. Let's just go ahead and smash that subscribe button and the like button on this video because come on, we're giving you a inside scoop on exactly how we prepare 30 minutes before the market even opens. And a lot of these calls, man, are spot on. I mean, just look at DraftKings from yesterday. I mean, to just be prepared for a type of move like that and to call it out in pre-market and then to execute on it, that's just so rewarding. And I know a lot of our traders here in Stack Trading took advantage of that DraftKings move, and it was by far probably one of the best calls to start off a month like that. So with that being said, let's get started. Fubo is a stock that you see here on my screen, and it's popping. Fubo is actually, for full disclosure, is a stock that I'm currently swinging. I actually did just take profit on 75% of my position right here at $40.50. It popped another dollar. I'm still swinging a couple more shares. Not a big position, but a decent amount just to swing into earnings because they do report earnings this afternoon. And Fubo, let me pull up a longer term chart. Fubo is a stock that we've had a lot of fun with, especially in December, if you guys remember. We played it on that breakout when it broke out of like that $28 range and ran up to 62. Last couple weeks it's been selling off. It's gotten some pressure. It found some basing at 36 and $34 on the daily chart. Now it's popping up to 42 bucks. It reports earnings this afternoon, and here's the thing. There's a lot of institutions betting on Fubo. This could potentially be, the next Netflix per se, right? That's what the bull case is for Fubo, and look at it just ripping right now. So with that being said, for me, I am going to keep a close eye on Fubo to day trade it. I'm also swinging it, like I said. So there's just two different ways that I'm playing it. So with Fubo, we got to wait for another, maybe reversal at the open, or maybe a bull flag setup, go long and ride the sucker up maybe to 45 bucks. So I like Fubo, and Fubo is a stock that can move. So just be very careful with your sizing on it, because if you get in on Fubo and it pulls back on you really hard, you can get hurt big time. RKT is a stock that has been moving since yesterday, actually a couple days now. And on the daily chart, looks pretty nice. Had a nice breakout here from the $23 range. Actually, as a matter of fact, no, from the $21 range, had a nice breakout. So it's been on a run for its third day now. It's already moved $6, from the breakout 3 days ago. RKT has a relatively high short interest. Nothing crazy. I think it's about 40%. And the CEO was on CNBC a couple days ago, and they actually have really good earnings, really solid business. Obviously, they're in the mortgage business, and we all know how hot the housing market has been. So these guys have been benefiting from this housing craze, if you want to call it. So for me, for RKT, if RKT breaks out of 2770. I'll get interested to get in it for a long. If it does break below, let's say like the $27 range, we could possibly look to short the stock. Yesterday, it had a big gap up. It had a nice rally, all day, and really the play was in the afternoon. The afternoon just kept pushing. So this is just high on momentum right now. So I do expect this momentum to continue, especially with the volume that's coming in the past several days. Another stock that I'm going to keep a very close eye on is NIO. NIO reported earnings, and because of the shortage of semiconductors and chips, which is required for vehicles, they have reduced their guidance on auto deliveries. And NIO is still such a baby company, right? And they need to ramp up production to increase their revenues and their earnings, right? That's what investors are looking for, right? Investors are looking for NIO to really ramp up the deliveries and production of their vehicles. And this shortage in chips and semiconductors is not a good thing for automakers. It's not only impacting NIO, it's also impacting Tesla. Tesla had to shut down a California production facility because of this shortage and other part shortages. General Motors as well stated that the chip shortage is going to cost them over $1 billion of revenue. So it's affecting the industry worldwide. And NIO is not immune to that, which is why you see NIO gapping down. Yesterday it closed at 49.76. It's trading pre-market at 46.46. So NIO can be in a little bit more pain. Let's pull up a daily chart on this one. NIO is NIO the new Tesla? Well, a lot of people do call it the Tesla of China, but it still has some time to prove itself. If NIO fails like the $45, $44 range, it's going to be in trouble. I think it could come down in the next couple of days to like $40. It might find some support here at like the $40 range, because you have to pull up a 1 year. There's nice basing action that has occurred back in November and December, and so I think we're gonna test those levels again. That's just my prediction. I don't have a crystal ball. That's just what I'm seeing here. It got rejected yesterday off the daily AMAT, and look at it now, just slammed back down. So I do think that NIO is in some trouble here. So if NIO wants to get a pop, from a relief rally, it's going to be a counter trend trade, and those are pretty aggressive. So I'd prefer not to do that. I would rather just go in for a short opportunity if I see a bear flag formation. If NIO does pop a little bit, get a little relief, and then starts curling over and gets rejected, then we can go in for the short. I would prefer that versus just a straight flush right out of the open, right? So NIO, we've just got to wait for the setup. That's all we got to do. Zoom, I know it's an expensive stock, but Zoom is definitely going to be on my A list today. Reported earnings gapping up almost 40 points, and they had really good earnings. They beat the hell out of their earnings expectations for Wall Street. So the way I see it is this: if Zoom breaks out at 445, definitely going long. After hours high yesterday was here at 458, and if you look at the daily chart, this is a nice comeback for Zoom. Nice comeback for Zoom. On the daily, there could be some overhead resistance at 452, 453, which is the high of February 16th. But if it breaks out of that, 470s, I'm not saying it's going to hit that today, but from a swing perspective, you could probably swing Zoom and realistically expect 470, 480 in the next couple days. It's got some good price target upgrades. One that stood out to me was an upgrade from, let me see, where are you? Piper Sandler raises it to $541. Jesus, I think they're the highest price target on Wall Street for Zoom. But what concerns me is look at the other price targets. The other price targets are not that aggressive. 420 from Morgan Stanley, 456 from JP Morgan, from Credit Suisse, 375. So there's a lot of conflicting analysis on Zoom. Piper Sandler is extremely bullish on Zoom. I read their research note, and yeah, they think Zoom is gonna fly from here. So let's see what the investor community has to think about that. From a day trade perspective, that's all I really care about. I'm not swinging Zoom at all. Like I said, if it breaks out at 445, we can go long. Probably gonna have to put our stops. I'll put my stops at like 440. So I'll give it a solid 5-point range. I am not touching options contracts with this one. Very spready stock. I'm gonna trade with equity here. So if this stock is too expensive for you, just ignore it. Don't even look at it. Focus your energy on some other stocks. NVAX is also another expensive name, but it's a biotech that can move. They reported earnings, wasn't too hot. The CEO came out and tried to be bullish, on their COVID-19 vaccine, being approved by the FDA in May. So if NVAX wants to rally, it would need to break out of like 230, 231 for me to get interested in it. And I'll probably put my stops at 228. So I'm only going to give it a 2 point, 3 point wiggle room to make that rally happen. If it doesn't, if it breaks below 228, 227, I'm going to short you. So that's my idea with that. One other name. I am going to keep an eye on the overall market on the NASDAQ. So the triple Qs is something that I'm going to keep a close eye on. The market is flat going into this morning. I'm very curious about how the market's going to trade today. I have a feeling it's going to be choppy today. So on a day like today, where I do feel like it's going to get choppy, be very selective with your trades. If you don't see a setup that you don't like, don't trade. Wait for the afternoon. And hell, if you don't like anything at all today, don't trade at all today, because I would not want you to get chopped up and lose money, just for the sake of trying to take a trade, right? So I put emphasis on that because I don't want anyone to jump into a trade if it's not a perfect setup for you, right? Enforce those personal rules, and Fubo just keeps rising up. So with that being said, Taj, pass it on to you, brother.
Yeah, to be keeping a eye on Fubo, this rally I had past 30 minutes or extremely long. So definitely keeping an eye on that. I'm gonna bring up some other cheap names that popped up on my scanner today. And what's nice about all of these cheap names is that they do offer options contracts. So whether you want to trade it outright with equity or with options contracts, you have the ability to do both with both of these names. So the first one is going to be NVAX. They had some successful trials when it comes to the COVID-19. So they're in the healthcare sector. Closed yesterday at $4.22, all the way to $9.60 a little earlier today. Kind of trading around 840, 850.
Hey Taj, your microphone, it sounds robotic. I don't know if that's happening to everybody else.
Can you guys hear me? Is that weird?
Yeah, something's wrong with your microphone.
Let's see.
It's like a robot. Like, yo, Taj just became a transformer over here. It's just freaking Megatron over here. Bro, this guy. Yo.
Does this sound better now?
Yeah, much better now.
Okay. Oh man, sorry guys. I had my robot voice conversion on my bed. So NVAX, that's gonna be the name that we're gonna keep an eye on today. It had a high of 961. It's traded all the way back down to $8, but it's holding nicely up here. It reclaimed $9. I wouldn't mind picking up some call options on NVAX, and there's really no resistance. Looking at the daily, I didn't see any nearby resistance until around $12. So there's a lot of room for this to run. There's a little bit here at $10, but then after that, it's really $12. Upwards to $20 afterwards to run. It's being traded pretty heavily during the pre-market hours here. Over 1 million shares per candlestick on the 5-minute chart. So far, looks really, really good for a potential long. I'd like to see it reclaim $9 and then test that high today. So if we can break 8 and see if we can test that pre-market. If we start breaking down below 8, you could potentially look for a short. The 30 stops around 850, 860. So that's the setup for NVAX. Another stock is a post-earnings play that they had yesterday, but it's getting a really nice rally here. Closed yesterday at $9.20, trading up to $11, so nearly a 20% gap up on some solid volume here. And again, this option tracks as well. So the high was 6, but we are bull flagging here. So if we can break out above 40, we could potentially look long and throw our stops literally at like $10.90, $11, and see if we can test that intraday high, that pre-market high of $11.86. So these are two cheaper names. Again, if you want to trade cheap, there's some solid options here that have really good volume in NVC. I think this is going to be one that's really going to be moving today. So I'll be keeping a very close eye on that.
Taj, what was
Another name that
what was your second cheap name?
AOPN.
AOPN. Okay, gotcha.
No, KOPN.
Oh, KOPN.
KOPN.
Okay. Okay.
Another name I'll be watching is DraftKings. DraftKings had a very strong day yesterday. Closed right at its high, 68.90, and we're pretty much opening right at that same price. It did hit a high during the pre-market around 69.50. It sold off a bit. It's down about $1 from that point. But if we can reclaim $6, I think DraftKings is due for another run. Yesterday was too strong of a day for it to not have follow through, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll definitely be able to test 70, 71 bucks, especially $69. So I'll be keeping a very close eye on DraftKings. It's going to be my number play again was yesterday, and let's see if we can to the upside. Another name I'll be watching is some of the tech names, specifically Apple. The main reason I want to keep an eye on Apple, it's gapping up a little bit. There's a bull flag forming here, market hours. We can trade back above 128.40. We can definitely look for some longs. Pre-market high was 128.75. So I think we'll definitely test that. We can break 128. What I really like about it is if you look on the daily, base here when Apple was starting to break down. But these lows held here at 118.39, and now you're having price start to break out above the daily AMAT, which was a key resistance area to get through. So if we can hold this, break out above yesterday's high, which we're currently doing now, hold, I think it's so it has some range in it. We have about 2 points until we get to that price level. It's at 34. So actually, like away from the 20 minute. So I think there's a really good chance that we'll test that level. Also, the overall market, the SPYs have put in a solid rally today, continuing from yesterday's momentum. We're pretty much opening right at the closing price. So the SPYs were very, very slow yesterday, although it had an extremely strong day. All it did was just grind up the entire day. So nonetheless, it was a rally, but it was a choppy rally. I have a sense that we're going to experience some of the same today. I mean, even if you just look during the pre-market hours, it's doing the same thing it did yesterday. Just slowly grinding up. But nonetheless, it's important to keep an eye on it. If you want to trade it and just trail it off of the AMA, that could be a solid strategy. Just broke the most recent bull flag, so we'll have to wait for a better entry on it. But there was an entry here at 389.50. You got to be up nearly 50 cents already. There was one other play. Where was it? Oh, PLTR. I want to keep an eye on PLTR primarily because, how we mentioned yesterday, the AMA was going to be for PLTR test. Clearly, it was rejected yesterday. If you look at the daily chart, you have some topping. And just want to see if we have some follow through. We're going to have some follow through to the downside. It's more so on my view list. If PLTR starts to trade near yesterday's lows around 24, it'll really capture my attention. Now, I don't really see much of a pre-market play. Just want to play aggressive short here for 490. I more so just want to keep it on my watch list to see if it can test yesterday's lows of 24.60. If it does, it'll immediately go to around my A list. So that'll be another play. And then lastly, got to keep an eye on GameStop. I mean, this is each and every day.
Yep.
Got to watch Game. It had a big afternoon yesterday as it broke out above 118, 119, and rallied all the way up to 134, and then pretty much came right back down to that closing price. So we closed at 120. are gapping down a little bit. 3 points, that's not much for GameStop. Currently trading around 117. But if GameStop can trade back up to around 119, 120, there's potential we could see another rally. On the daily chart, we do have the AMAT catching up to the 20, which the GameStop is sitting on its 20 MA. So who knows? Maybe we can catch another pop. Volume on GameStop, if you look on the daily chart, has been picking up the past 4 days. Much heavier than it was the prior 2-3 weeks. So clearly there's some volatility with GameStop, and whatever that, definitely want to get our hands on it. So just keep an eye on GameStop for the rant. I don't see too much of a setup pre-market, but this is similar to PLTR. If we can start to catch a pop, maybe yesterday's high. Stock is just one of those plays where out of nowhere it can just pop, right? So just kind of have it on your radars if you can trade it, right? More so if you can trade it with equity. On it, because I think GameStop is going to continue to have that happen each and every for the most part. So this volume dies out, which it clearly hasn't. I think this is going to continue to happen with GameStop. But nonetheless, that's going to do it for my watch list. Out of the gates, watching DraftKings very closely, along with NVAX. I would say those are my top 2 plays out of the gates, along with Rocket. Rocket's going to be up there as well. Fubo, KOPN, and then on the B list, obviously we have GameStop and PLTR.
Nice. Let's get it today, guys. So with that being said, everyone on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow.